In the last video, we upgraded the crappy old speakers in my 2013 Polo Vivo and replaced them with the JVC CSJ620 coaxial speakers. And while the new speakers sound good, I think they have the potential to sound great, and that's where a new radio comes in. You see, the stock radio has two problems. One is that from factory, the stock radio is tuned to make the stock speakers sound acceptable. The reason why that is a problem is because it's now holding back the aftermarket speakers we installed. And while there are some settings we can use on the stock radio, like sub, mid, treble, and loudness, just to name a few, they aren't enough to make these cheap and cheerful speakers sound their best.
Damn! Leave a like and subscribe.
YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to another basic customs video. In today's video, we are going to be replacing the stock radio with the OneAcoustic Pro Series Single-DIN radio. I am so excited for this video because it's really going to elevate the sound stage, or like the sound in the vehicle. But before we get into doing all of that, we have to start by removing the negative battery terminal. Now that the battery terminal has been removed, we are now going to move on to step 2, which is disassembly. Now, this is really straightforward if you have the correct tools for it, especially to remove the radio, as it needs 2 little keys. And I do have those 2 little keys, but I think I'm doing this backwards. You'll see what I mean as we go on with the disassembly. Alrighty, so what I meant by I'm doing it backwards is instead of removing the radio first and pulling it out, I remove everything around the radio and then I pull the radio out, if that makes sense. Okay, so to start with the disassembly, you're just going to use your fingers, just find the little groove here and tug. There you go, and tug on the other side. And this comes out just like that. Just this, it's out. Has these little tabs at the back. And none of them broke. I'm really happy about that. Then, the next step, which is incorrect, I'll do this backwards like I said, is just to pull this out. If you place your hands in here, there's like 2 grooves. And then once you've pulled this out, which is this little cubby, you see these little grooves here? Just put your fingers in there, pull. You can now get your radio removal keys and you're going to insert them here. And I'll show you underneath what happens when you do that. So, to remove the radio with these keys, what you want to do is, you see the little tab here? I can actually like press it with my finger. I can actually remove this radio with my finger. But I want to show you guys what these things do. So, the notch is going to be on the inside, like so. And basically, what it has to do is it has to take this tab and push it in. And then when it clicks in like that, you know it's in. And we're going to do the same on the opposite end. There we go. And then the radio is removed. Pull it out. Okay, at the back we have 3 connections. This brown one is for the speakers, there's a black one at the bottom for the power and all of that, and then you have your radio antenna. So we're going to start by removing the speaker one, just by pressing this tab on the side and pulling straight. Then we'll remove this one. Oh, this tab, oh my gosh, this tab is hurting. Oh gosh, oh, there we go. There we go, that's out. And then last but not least, this radio antenna. Let's pull that straight. And there you have it. Your stock radio is out. Alrighty, so to our left we have the new radio, and to our right we have the stock radio. Now, the biggest reason for me upgrading the radio, because I mean it's basically the same thing, I guess. Single-DIN radio, nothing flashy about that. The reason why I've decided to replace the radio is because one, sorry guys, this OneAcoustic radio pushes 25 watts of RMS per channel, at 4 ohms. The stock radio only pushes about between 5 and 15 watts RMS. So this has a bit more power, and it's going to match up nicely with the aftermarket speakers we have in the vehicle, the JVC CSJ 620s, because they're rated at 30 watts RMS. So this is a better match for those speakers. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show you guys is that this stock radio, the stock radio is a CD player, MP3 CD player, and you can see that in the size of the stock radio. If we compare that to the media player, which is the new radio, it is very much shorter, and that's because there's no CD drive in this one, whereas this one does have one. So we are doing a bit of weight reduction, if I can call it that, and with this chassis being a bit shorter than this one, there's much more room in the back for cable management. Okay, now before we can install the new radio, we have to do a bit of wiring. Now it's not completely necessary, because if I take these aftermarket connectors, right, this one's for the speakers, I can actually plug it directly into the stock radio, which has me thinking I could just plug and play using the stock wiring harness of the Polo. Okay, so another thing I forgot to show you guys is the radio adapter, or radio antenna adapter. This is what it looks like. So this is gonna allow us to keep the radio playing, like radio, like FM. When I say radio, I'm talking about FM, like radio stations. This was $50. My fiance was not impressed that this was $50. She said it should have been like $20, but it is what it is. Okay, so for us to be able to splice these two together, we need a couple of tools. I got an automatic wire stripper, and they act as crimpers as well. So I will be stripping the ends off of these, kind of like so, and then I'll be using these butt connectors, and then we'll be heat shrinking these. These are 2-to-1 heat shrinks, and we are going to be going over those 2-to-1 heat shrinks with these, which are 3-to-1 heat shrinks, but they're marine grade, so there's like an adhesive inside them that's gonna melt as you heat it up, and it's gonna make it like waterproof. So it's just gonna give us a better seal overall, and more of a hold, a better hold. Okay, so yellow is your 12 volt, red is your accessory or ignition, and then black is your ground. Okay, now that the harness looks like this, we are going to go and test it inside the car. So we'll just plug this in quickly. There we go, and then we're gonna go plug it into the car. Okay, so that's connected. We are going to take the radio, and I'm going to turn the key, and hopefully it comes on. Okay, nothing yet. Let's see if we press the power button. There we go. Okay, so we know it comes on now. now what we need to do is we need to connect the rest of the wires. I'll put you guys on a time lapse, and then we're going to come back here, we're going to reinstall it, and we're going to see if everything works. Okay, so I've been outside, I've gone to go and test my connections. This is what we look like at the moment. Everything's connected, the heat sinks are ready. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to heat shrink it down, and then once that is done, I'll heat shrink it again with these other colors, and then we should be ready to go plug everything in, and I can give you guys a quick demo. And there we go. We're just gonna allow this to cool down a bit. We're also gonna allow the heat gun to cool down a bit, and then we are going to put on the other heat sinks over these and then just heat those down as well. Okay, and there you have it. We have our speaker connection and we have our power connection. So what I did with the wires that we weren't going to use is I heat shinked them, and I made sure the heat shrink goes over the tip, and then I just tied it back with a bit of tessa tape or cloth tape or material tape, some people call it. And then I did the same here with the remote turn on wire that we'll eventually be using. I did make sure that I'll be able to take this off. Let me do that now. I almost did not make sure. So I'm just going to fold this over on itself and make a little tab. That way it's easier for me to take it off if I need to. So once I'm ready for the amp and subwoofer install, I can just take this off, terminate that, connect it to the remote wire from the amp kit, and then bows your uncle. But that's a future video. Then here I just basically bundled the wires up so that you have your speaker inputs and your power inputs. Not too shabby if I say so myself. Now let's go plug in this radio and see if it works. Okay, so we're back in the car and we're about to fit the radio or test the radio. But before we do that, I just want to disassemble the radio a bit, because I need to prep it for fitment. So I'm just going to take this trim off here if it wants to. There we go. There we go. There we go. This comes off like that. And then we can use the radio removal keys that come with it to take it off. Yes, that's one. And then the other. There we go. That comes off like that. Hey, come off. There we go. Squeeze out. There we go. Okay. Now that the radio is naked, we are going to plug it in and we are going to test it. First, I'll start by plugging in the harness that we worked on. Top is going to be for the speakers, which is this brown one. That's plugged in, and then the bottom one is going to be for the power, which is this black one. Okay, that's plugged in. Now we are going to plug in the radio itself. Again, the top one's for the speakers and the bottom one is for the power. Okay, now that that's in, we're going to turn the ignition on. I've already reconnected the negative terminal. Okay, it's on. Now we test it again, and there you go. You can hear the static from the radio, which means it's working, and I did test my connections, so I'm happy with that. And I need to get ready for fitment. Now, for fitment to take place, for fitment to happen, I first need to start with the little cubby, which is this. And that's gonna go like that. This is gonna go in first over here. Okay, now that that's in, I can start with the cage. Place this through here, just like this. Oh, there we go. And the reason why you want to put this cubby in first is because it has a little lip here for this cage to sit on. If you take a closer look at the cage itself, this is a universal fit, so it can even be like flipped over, but it can't go back to front, obviously. What we want to do is we want to make sure that this lip is sitting right against the trim of the vehicle. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take a flat, and these little tabs here, we're going to push them up like that using the flat. That's going to secure the cage in place, which is going to allow us to just slide the radio in. There we go. Okay. That's nice and tight. Now we can connect the radio, and then we can weigh it in. Okay, so bottom's power, top is speakers, and before I forget, the very expensive part that my fiance wasn't pleased with. Okay, so the trick with this is you first insert this, and then once this is in, you are going to go, you're going to put your hand at the back here. Now we're going to do the antenna. You should just like that. I do believe that is it. I'm going to shove this in there, and then as soon as I push this radio in, it should just click in. Now I just want to reassemble quickly, and this is like the last part for reassembly. Everything's sitting snug. Now I'm going to turn on the car one more time, and then we are going to be playing around with the settings a bit. Guys, it is a week later, and I'm only now realizing that I never recorded a conclusion. I was busy editing and I couldn't get the end of the video. Now, besides not recording a conclusion, I also forgot to humbly ask you guys to please subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you're enjoying this video, please do smash that like button. It's really gonna help the channel out a lot. We're almost at 300 subscribers. I think we're one subscriber away from 300, and I'm really hoping to get to like 500 subscribers before the end of the year. Now I know there's only a month left, but I do believe we can do it with your guys' support. So please guys, do subscribe and do like the video if you're enjoying it. Otherwise, you can just like it. Okay, so with that out of the way, let me get to my conclusion on the radio. I don't wanna make this video too long, but basically I've had the radio now in the car for a week, and a couple of things. One, it's louder than stock. Not much louder. I'm not gonna go in competitions, but it's louder than stock. See, I keep on wanting to say much louder. I keep on wanting to exaggerate. It's not much louder, but it is louder than stock, and it's much more clearer. It's much more crisp, especially once you fiddle around with the equalizer. It does help a lot, but there's one problem, and the problem is the radio isn't keeping its memory. This means when I switch on the vehicle, do my settings, and I switch off the vehicle again and remove the key from the ignition, the radio basically resets the next time you turn it on. So I have read through the owner's manual. It's telling me that I haven't connected the yellow wire, which is the constant, or the 12 volt, the one that goes directly to the battery. I haven't connected that properly, so I'm gonna try and troubleshoot that off camera, and once I have a solution, or even if I don't have a solution, I'll get back to you guys and let you know what happened, but that's gonna be in another video. So with that being said, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.